Hell in a Cell is over, and oh my gosh. You know, I think back on an old movie I do not remember the title of, that Betty Davis. If you never heard of Betty Davis, she was a very old actress back in the early 30s, 40s, and 50s. And she said a line in a movie basically saying, fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy ride. In this case, it's a bumpy night because I don't know what the frackin' fuck we just saw. I didn't care about Raw at all in this, so my expectation for it was so low. I cared more about SmackDown than Raw. But when you got to the end of this show, you wonder what the hell did we just look at? And I'm not saying it was bad, but what? Okay, let's start with the kickoff show. An hour and a half of filler. I watched. I was stupid enough to watch when the coach was actually taking the place of guess who? Renee Young. Maybe that might be his permanent spot. They decided to stick Renee Young on Raw from now on. It will give a better dynamic than the coach. Fine. Eventually got David Otunga there. Once either he got there or when Booker T said basically, I'm tired, I'm gone. An hour and a half of nothing but advertisement and filler. No matches. One match. That was New Day versus Rusev Day. And I gotta say this. I know a lot of people saying that Rusev Day is really, really hot. And Rusev Day is really, really dead. There's some people said it's dead or it's hot. I'm gonna say that it was in between. If you know Rusev Day was really striking hot months ago, you should have gave them the titles. And I'm talking about Aiden English and Rusev. Honestly, they should have gotten the titles months ago. So if you gave it to them now, if you sponsored them right, it would have been good. And they could have started rebuilding themselves. But no. Rusev Day was fed to New Day. In a good match. It wasn't an incredible one, but it was a good match. And in the end, it's due to the fact of Aiden English putting on the accolade and basically supposedly ruining it again for Rusev. Why did they do this? They should have just let the Bar do it. But now I understand the Bar is going to be at the Super Showdown at Australia. What's going to happen on Monday? Is Aiden English about to get... No, Tuesday, I'm sorry. Not Monday. Tuesday. Is Aiden English going to get the boot? Are they going to have a fight between each other now? Is it just going to be dropped like nothing happened and Rusev Day is going to be the same way it is? This was a big waste of time for Rusev Day. It really was. People really want to cheer for them. And when they were hot, they refused to do it. And guess what? They were semi-warm here and then they dropped it. It's over. No matter what anybody says, Rusev Day is a joke now. I don't care. Even though I still like Aiden English with everybody else, I don't care now. Now, let's go not to the first match of the night. Because I'm leaving that for later in the show. Let's go to, Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre and, man, it's a noisy out there tonight, and Dean Ambrose. The tag title belts for Raw up for grabs. Now, I was thinking the Shield was going to win here. I didn't really care about this match. Was it a good match? It was okay. It wasn't great. The person who really made the match was Seth Rollins. He really did. Dean really isn't much, right? I know a lot of people still love Dean, but as long as he isn't a heel, he's boring. He's boring as a face. And I said this before to everyone and I know one of my subscribers, I don't remember the name of, I think it was a female, a lady, that said everything's going to be great with Dean Ambrose. They're going to turn him heel. And I said, are you actually serious they're going to turn him heel? They're never going to turn him heel until he's screwed up. And he's boring now. So the match itself, was it good? It was okay, as I said earlier. And the heels retain. Well, if you're calling... what would you think the Shield is? They're heels. You don't like them. Then you got the real faces in a Dolph Ziggler and a Drew McIntyre who won. Which was the wisest thing to do because we were, well, I'm thinking it's the wisest thing to do. But I'm sure other people are going to say, no, it's not the wisest thing to do because the Shield should have won the titles there. Don't expect us to be happy if the Shield gets a rematch this week on Monday, and they get the titles then. Because it'll be stupid. That's what I'm thinking. That they lost here, but maybe this week or next week they may get the titles, or at Super Showdown. Who knows? Now, let's move on to the next match of the night that I felt was ridiculously too long. And that is Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey. Now, I understand that we're trying to hype up that match, basically saying that Ronda's ribs have been softened, and now Alexa has a chance. I didn't buy it. And then once Foxy Lady came out, what the hell was she wearing? I don't know what the hell she was wearing. The only one that looked great there was Mickie James. And I wish Mickie James should have been champ. I would have liked to see Mickie James, who is a legitimate badass. Anyone who keeps saying she's too old, it doesn't matter. Dude, you don't know what you're saying. She knows how to wrestle. She has credibility in almost every promotion she's been into. She could make the title mean something. Because as it stands now, and I do like Ronda, but I still say it 100%, she was given the title too soon. It should have been a year from now. Right around this time, you could have given the title to Ronda. You rushing it when really she hasn't developed a true personality. And even though she does know how to wrestle a pro wrestling style, she still shows a lot of judo and judo moves in her movesets. So when something goes wrong or she tries to make it look like it goes wrong, it looks very awkward. Nothing wrong with her showing mixed martial arts in her style as long as she knows when to use it. Now mind you, she did play up having hurt ribs very well, and I'm not taking anything from her. Once Alicia Fox and Mickie James really tried to emphasize that, it was pretty cool. I was alright with it. But I'm being honest here. She shouldn't have been given this title so soon. She shouldn't have been given this title this year. I want to see Ronda be really interesting. Yes, the crowd was behind her. And mind you, I'm so glad she didn't wear that crazy makeup around her eyes. Thank goodness for that. But let's be honest. Who's going up against Ronda now? You don't have anyone built up for her other than Charlotte. Well, I'll get to Charlotte in a minute, which I'm very happy about. But you get my point. Only person you have that's built for next year will be Charlotte or possible Nikki Bella, because Super Showdown, something's going to happen, maybe. But I really felt like this isn't a year for her. She should have been built up properly, not this. Now, next, we have... Might as well get this done. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. One of the two matches, no, more than two, that I felt they made the worst decisions they could make. There are more than a few matches on this card they made horrible decisions on. New Day with Rusev Day. Rusev Day should have won. AJ Styles versus, oh my god, I'm still like, the match was good. The match was bloody. You can see some of the scenes as it passed by. Hopefully it didn't glitch out. Like sometimes when I take a screenshot, the screen will glitch out and then my background is shown and there's a pretty pretty girl on there. I may actually show her on my shoulder if you don't see her right now. But anyway, she's pretty cute, right? But anyway, when it comes down to it, the match was good. I'll say it like this. It was better than Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. It wasn't an incredible great match, but it was way better than any of the matches they had in the last 6 months. But here's the thing. Instead of just letting it be a clean-cut victory for Samoa Joe, because he tapped out AJ Styles. It's in my face. Once he put the coquina clutch on and AJ flipped back, he freaking tapped out. This is exactly what happened with Kevin Owens. tell me if I'm wrong, that some situation where Kevin Owens and AJ Styles happened, and there was a controversy, and then they had to have another freaking match. This is where they made the most stupidest, boneheaded mistakes. Instead of just letting this build into something special, going into Survivor Series, where AJ loses the title and gets even more angry at Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe's going to be so emboldened, he's going to be screwing with AJ, messing with his family, messing with him. AJ can keep fighting him, and then when they get to Survivor Series, that would be great. Not Super Showdown. Leave this for a signature pay-per-view at Survivor Series. Build it up for a couple of months. Have AJ go home for a couple of months with his family. Show either his real family or stage family. That would have made it even more substantial. But no, they're stupid enough to do this controversy shit. And then once Joe came to Paige, an angry as screwy fuck, she says at Super Showdown, he gets his shot and he wants a no disqualification, no tap out, no whatever, no holds barred, whatever it is. It don't make a difference. He's asking for that. Paige gives it to him, and I think that's the most dumbest thing you can do. Honestly, it's dumb. It's dumb. Doing it like this for Australia fans, and mind you, I'm not against Australia fans. They're no different than me. They love the product if it's done properly. But come on, man. This was dumb. It was dumb. It was freaking dumb to see AJ Styles have to tap out and the ref does a 1, 2, 3 on the mat. I don't know. Let's go to The Miz, Daniel Bryan, Maurice, and Brie Bella. Now, when the match first started, I was thinking, oh no, they're letting them start. Please don't let them start. They quick tagged, and it was the guys who did the heavy lifting. Because, and I know one, who was it? I don't remember. I think it was George, one of my subscribers. He said Maurice doesn't look too bad. I'm sorry, dude. Maurice, she hasn't been in the ring for a while. And she doesn't look good. But I will say 100%, she's better than Brie, who almost killed herself twice, almost 2 weeks ago, nearing 3, on Raw, trying to copy her husband. If you guys don't know about that, look at my video about the Bella twins in the future. I'll leave a connection below. You can look at it if I don't forget. But seeing the women being left out of it generally, fine. But it was the women who ended it. Now, wait a minute. I should step back a little bit. The psychology was good. Maurice kept coming in and out, and The Miz is the one who kept fighting Daniel Bryan. I would rather see Daniel Bryan and The Miz by themselves, not with their wives, to be honest. But was the ring work good? Yes, it was good. These guys got good chemistry in the ring, and there was blood that was drawn on The Miz somewhere a couple of times. One on his leg, and I believe he got the knee to the head by Daniel Bryan, and he got some on his head. I think that was true. I think he did get some bloodied by his head. But by the end of the match, when Brie threw Maurice back into the ring, she tried to pin her, and Maurice got the pin. Which is perfectly fine. That's the way it's supposed to be. The way they've been booking Daniel Bryan has been dumb. Before they started doing the feud, when it came to Big Cass, and then dealing with everybody else. He shouldn't have been winning. He should have been losing, and then steadily built up. But no, they made him win almost all the time, except when it was a triple threat. So seeing him lose here, which is a tag team, is pretty much the same thing. It makes sense. You got to give The Miz something to work with. Now, yes, it was Maurice that did get the win, but still, it's okay. I will take it for what it is. Hopefully, it will build into something later. Now, we didn't get that many matches for the women, other than Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey, and what I'm talking about now, Charlotte versus Becky Lynch. And this is where you can see where the crowd's allegiance lied, because the women, the men, the kids, they were all cheering for Becky. It made no difference. Even though Charlotte's boobs bounced pretty nicely. She has no curves, but the implant she got is obviously larger than the original implants that she had, because she never jiggled that much. So she must have asked, give me a little bit more, either, not silicone, but hopefully she didn't get silicone because that can be dangerous, saline. So hopefully she adds for a little more saline in her breast. So now she's much more bouncy. That's the truth. And during that match, you can see a lot of her freaking cleavage. I think Charlotte doesn't understand. If she really wants to become wholesome as a face, she needed to change her ring attire. I'm not sexist. I'm not a sexist pig. But when you do something to accentuate yourself, it was a guy to get a penis enlargement, you would expect him to get like trunks that will hide it and not emphasize it. Because if you want to be wholesome to kids and families, you don't show so much freaking cleavage, which she did. And her boobs looked like they wanted to spill out almost every time she was in a hold with Becky Lynch. Mind you, with Becky, she should have zipped up her top a little bit. I think it might have came down due to the fact of the wrestling. And I will say this, as I've always said, when it comes to Charlotte, when she's highly familiar with somebody, she can wrestle well. Not incredibly well, but well. But I'm going to say this, and I'm sure people are not going to totally agree. If you compare Becky to Charlotte in straight out wrestling, Becky's superior. You see it in this match. She was totally superior. And in the end, Becky finally wins the title. Charlotte looked shocked. And the crowd were explosive. And I'm glad it happened. And the best thing that happened was when it was over, Charlotte wanted to shake hands. Becky held the title above her and said, "You never getting this back, bitch." Not saying bitch, but you get my point. You're never getting it back. It's mine forever. And that's the way she should be acting. She feels she's entitled to the title because it was taken from her. Her opportunity should have just been between her and Carmella. Seeing she's still holding a grudge to Charlotte is the wisest thing to do, even though it should be flipped. And Becky should still be a face, and Charlotte should be the heel. That should be it. And Becky should still win, even though Charlotte would have the title. Now, let's get, where am I forgetting here? Let's get to the next one. And that's the opening of the show. Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. This was the wisest opening they could have done. And it was brutal. Oh man, I admit, I know that it could have been, well, when the match first started, I was thinking this is going to be a good match. I'm sure of it because Randy knows how to make it work. Jeff has a good imagination, so it'll be alright. But I didn't expect it to be brutal. One point in the match, Randy gets a screwdriver. He had already laid out Jeff. He goes into the ring. He goes into that freaking earlobe again, pulls it, and then puts a screwdriver in there and start twisting that bitch. Damn! That had to hurt. I don't care. Even if it was not supposed to be too rough on his ear. He made it look rough enough that you think, oh my freaking fracky, damn it. That mess had, I don't know why I said that, but holy shit. That had to hurt, man. That had to freaking hurt. Later, there were several other instances where Randy threw Jeff into this, well, he threw him into inverted ladder. He basically threw him against the, well, I won't say that he didn't throw him really hard into the steel cage, but he threw him hard enough to look like it really did hurt. Flat out. And in the end, once Jeff got the bet, oh, no, not Jeff, it's kind of hard to stay focused because it really shocked me. Once Jeff wailed on Randy with a steel chair a couple of times, gave him a twist of fate a couple of times, he finally laid him out enough that he set up two ladders, one shorter than the other. He set up a table, set Randy on top of it. And once he set up that table and put Randy on top of it, he decides he was going to try and springboard off the smaller ladder to the top ladder, but he realized it was just too short. So he climbed onto the top ladder, and I don't know what was in his mind. What was he thinking? because he went to the top of the ladder, grabbed the top of the Hell in a Cell itself, swung over the table where Randy was, and decided to swing back and forth enough momentum so he can land flat stomached. Well, belly flop. Flat stomach. He would belly flop on his ass, but Randy jumps out of the way. Shit! That could have easily hurt Jeff very badly, because that was a straight hit to the gut. It's bad enough when you land on your back at that height, but the straight hit to the gut, remember, the only thing you got are your ribs. Every bit of your intestines, your liver, and everything else is in the front. Basically, your intestine and some of your liver and your kidneys are kind of exposed. But once you hit that area, you're never right. So they did end the match there, but not at the same time. Because as the Hell in a Cell went up, Randy grabs his leg and say, "Count! Count, damn you! What the hell is wrong with you? Do your damn job! Do your damn job!" And then once he counts 1, 2, 3, the EMTs come in, take away Jeff, and then we hear later, after the match is over, because Jeff was supposedly taken to a local hospital, that he started spitting up blood. And I can't remember what else. There was some type of internal damage, and he started spitting up blood. Now, hopefully that's a work, but you never know at that height, and especially, it was wood that he landed on. No, like light fiberboard. I believe they call it, EDL, I can't remember the name of it. Forget it. I'm not going to think about it. He just landed on the table. I'm sorry for that. And in the end, that's what you get. Now, what's next? We didn't see that much of the women. There wasn't that much a surprise of anything else other than the end of the night. Now, let me see if I'm forgetting anything. I don't want to forget anything. Talked about Samoa Joe, I talked about Ronda, I talked about The Miz, and, okay, end of the show. Whew. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. Admittedly, I was not interested in the match. I'm not gonna lie. By the end of it, I was shocked to see that they went that far to try and make Roman Reigns mean something. To make his match mean something. Because when it really came down to it, ladies and gentlemen, Roman Reigns was the focus of the match. And when they knew the crowd wasn't interested in them, they had a contingency plan to make the match relevant by giving you almost everything else on top of the match, in the hopes of making the match interesting with Roman in it. Now, the first thing I want to say is there was someone in there that was screaming like a bird. Gah! Gah! I don't know what the hell that was. That person was screaming like a freaking bird. You guys tell me if you heard it, because that's what I was hearing. Then, throughout the match, you can see a lot, whatever I could grab, because I was having a problem with the stream. It was a brutal match. Braun Strowman was dominant. But here's the problem. As I said in last week's Raw, when it comes to Braun Strowman, over a year ago, he was destructive. He was death incarnate. And now he seems like just a big guy. That's it. He should have won the match, to be honest. He should have won the match. The match should have been won by him, but they didn't want to go there with Roman. Ooh. Sorry about that, my light flickered. But once we were halfway through that match, you got Dolph and Drew coming out. Then you had Seth and Dean come out. Then you had them crawl on top of the cage to distract from Roman and from Braun Strowman. And then you see them fighting. You see them beating each other up. You see that Dean came up with a kendo stick. You can see hitting people. Then you seen that Dolph and Seth tried to climb down the cage. And guess what? Both of them fall and crash into the commentary tables, I believe for the Spanish announce table and the English announce table. Both are laid out. Then you got the other guys coming down. then once all that was settled, you got Brock Lesnar coming out with Paul Heyman. He's telling the ref on the outside, open the freaking cage or my monster's going to open it without you. And he kicks the cage off his freaking hinges. And also breaks the chain. My gosh. Once he F5s them both. Well, wait, I take that back. Once he takes pieces of what was left over from one of the tables in the ring and he hits both of them with it, he F5s both those bitches, and in the end, he's dominant. The guy's got a freaking beard, blondish beard now. I guess he wanted to be a lumberjack. But in the end, no winner. Unsettled. And probably what's going to happen, Brock Lesnar will be inserted into a match with Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. Unless they say, well, Braun Strowman had cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, it doesn't count anymore, and it's going to be Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar again at maybe Super Showdown. Look, was the ending surprising? Yes, it was. Was it great? It was okay. I'm not saying it was bad, but it is obvious they had to go that far with the match because they knew people just didn't like Roman. And I'm sure people are going to say, dude, you're wrong, you're wrong. This isn't about Roman. That was a great freaking match. It's not about the match. It never was about the match. This is about getting Roman over. This is about Roman Reigns getting over. And to be honest, if they had to go that far with him to try and make the match relevant, that means Roman Reigns is nothing. Zero. As far as I'm concerned, Roman Reigns was completely irrelevant because they had to do everything they could to try and make him relevant in that match. To see that Brock Lesnar screwed over him and Braun Strowman to make him important. So when this Raw comes up, he'll probably be there in the beginning of the show saying Brock Lesnar better come out because I want him. And then probably Braun Strowman will come out. And then maybe Brock Lesnar will come out either later in the night or at the beginning. I don't know. But they really failed if they had to go that far to make the match relevant. Was this a good show? It was more of a SmackDown show than Raw. I didn't give a damn about Raw. I got more interest from AJ Styles, Becky Lynch. We got more interest. Even in the New Day versus Rusev Day, we got more interest. It was just, eh. And the only thing I cared about was SmackDown Live. Raw, I didn't care about. I didn't care about Raw. What did I gain from Raw? Nothing. Even the end of the show, I didn't care. But this is just my point of view. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace!